And it's a good reminder on the times where I'm like exhausted and don't feel like doing this. I don't feel motivated until I start to think about the payoff and all that we gain. Welcome this morning to Scofield Farm. I'm Carice. Today, I am starting my fall seeds for my fall winter cool weather garden. And you are joining me because you're my accountability today. I told you guys in the last couple of videos that our schedule is so crazy in the fall. You know, on top of recovering from shoulder surgery and I've thrown out back all summer, I have little windows of time, like this morning, when I have to leave to go to the soccer park to watch 4 of my boys play in 3 soccer games pretty much all day. But I do have a little bit of time to do seeds, and I told you I would. And you guys are my accountability. Honestly, the way things are going this year, I probably would not take the time to do my fall seeds if I didn't know that I told you I was, and I wasn't gonna make a video to kind of have you along with me. So if you are right at the time to start your fall seeds, get out your stuff, get out your seed starter, get out your seeds, and maybe we could do this together and we can hold each other accountable and actually be thankful later that we started stuff today. So the last few videos, I have talked a lot about taking advantage of the little windows of time we have and not being an all or nothing person. And this is something that I have to tell myself all the time. There is no way this morning that I could actually finish all of my fall seeds. I need a couple more containers to start my onions, and I can link to a video where I show how I start my onions and my lettuce below in the description. But I need a few more containers. I didn't mix up quite enough seed starter mix, but I'm gonna show you how cool it is because this is the best one I think I've done so far. I did 15% perlite, 20% vermiculite, and the rest peat moss, and I let it sit for basically 36 hours damp with some water to get that peat moss to expand. And look at it, it is really good. This might be my go-to recipe from now on. I can take this little bit of time, I can start at least a couple trays of seeds. And that time is not wasted. That just gives me one more step closer to actually being successful and not quitting. I mentioned one of my last videos that the way that most people quit is they get overwhelmed and burnout and it just becomes too much. And making things baby steps, making things doable bite-sized portions is a way to guarantee that you actually keep gardening, you keep growing food for your family, or keep preserving food, or keep exercising, or keep reading, or going to school, or whatever it is that you're trying to tackle. Baby steps really, truly, for me, for a lot of people, are a way to prevent burnout and prevent just deciding that it's all too much. And so even just filling these trays and seeing how much seed starter I actually have is going to help me finish the job eventually. Probably not this morning, but at some point we will have fall seeds, we will have them sprout, I will put them in larger cups and then we'll put them in the garden, and I'll be so glad in a couple months I did this because the fall winter garden for us is our lowest maintenance garden. The rain finally comes when the temps cool off. Things grow a little slower, there's not many weeds, there's not many pests, and we mostly go out to the garden to harvest for fresh eating. And I'm always so glad when I do it. But every year, this time of year, early September, late August, the time I usually start stuff, I always just, I resist so much because it feels like too much. It feels like life is too busy and it's just too much. But I know my past self knows my future self will say thank you. And I think the same is for you. If you live in a zone that can grow a fall or winter garden, I think doing the work right now, you will be happy later that you did. I definitely need to make more seed starter mix, but that is okay. I'm happy for what I made, and I really wasn't sure how much I needed to use this year. And I didn't want to overmix it and just have it sit in a bucket until spring. Always be sure to press it down in your cells so you don't have floating seed starter. I like to bottom water, and if I don't press it down, it won't absorb the water underneath because it's not actually touching the bottom of the tray. So I do that, do a top off. Okay, I wanna show you a sneak peek of my messy kitchen. I'm in the dining room. We have like an open concept living area. I'm always curious, what is it like where other YouTubers do their videos? I want you to see how real our family really is. It's kind of embarrassing, but take a look. Yeah, turning the camera around. Boys all already left for soccer. Here's a tray of peppers and tomatoes I really need to deal with, and dishes, canner on the stove still from last night. We have the broom out. We have the dishwasher open. You guys, we are a real family of 9 and we are messy. But real messy doesn't have to prevent me from starting my fall seeds. And if I get too much in here, I think of every single reason that I don't have time to start my seeds, and you know, time goes by and I still don't start them. So I'm going to ignore the mess on the other side of the camera. I'm gonna get started. I know I need to do this so bad. I'm gonna look, I did the other night, I did a long time of picking which things I'm gonna grow. I have like this whole tray of stuff that I labeled. Where is it? I wrote out the names of the different things I'm growing on this like painter's tape, and I'm going to label the front of my different seed starter trays. These are teeny little cells. They're the ones Charles Dowding uses. I found a place a few years ago that sells them in the US. There's things I love about them, there's things I don't. What I do love about them is they have a really wide hole on the bottom where you can push them out, but I always have to cut things up for sure, because they are so small. They're like 1 inch by 1 inch, so small. They dry out quickly. They won't grow in here very long, but they do save space on the front end of seed starting, which I think all of us need more space in our life, it seems like, especially when I don't have a greenhouse and I have to start on shelves with lights, and it ends up taking over my whole bedroom and dining room and sort of kicking my family out of the house. I'm gonna put these on. Aren't those flowers pretty? My daughter, she's only 10. She loves to go every week and go out to the garden, pick things we have blooming and make arrangements, and I love it. These are either in rows of 6 this way, rows of 10 that way, and I'm doing everything in rows of 10 this year. Some of them do like more than 1 row of 10. I do sell my extra starts locally. I'm trying really hard to keep it simple this year and not burn myself out. I know that I am really like kind of bordering on the feeling of burnout. So I want to be careful and listen to my emotional needs, my mental needs, and not overdo it. This tray right here that I'm working on is kale. I love kale. Kale is one of the reasons I decided to go ahead and do a fall winter garden. Growing food for my family is something that I've always wanted to do. I have been married 22, almost 23 years, have had kids for 20 of those years. My son, my oldest, is away at college. We took him down a couple weeks ago. He transferred to a wonderful school to study civil engineering in Southern California. He's gonna be 21 at the start of the year. And so I love feeding my family. I love taking care of my family. It really is a huge motivation. I had a lot of health issues. When I was growing up, I was one of those kids who had chronic ear infections. I was on antibiotics all the time. My mom said she had a standing appointment at the pediatrician for me and my siblings, who are a little less than 2 years younger than me. All my siblings are twins. When I was in college, I basically could not get over any cold without it turning into something that was some sort of infection, bronchitis, something deep in my lungs. I got diagnosed with asthma that was triggered by allergies or really bad colds, and it just was miserable. And I didn't grow up eating bad. My mom made a lot of things from scratch. So I had a great example, but I still had a lot of health issues. And so I went on this journey trying to figure out how to help myself get better and not have to rely on antibiotics, because I started developing allergies to medications, specifically to several antibiotics. It was super frustrating, and I wasn't that old to have to deal with all that stuff. It seems like a lot of people who grow their own food, who go into gardening or homesteading, have a similar story where They either struggled with their health or a loved one, like a child, ended up with food allergies or different reactions. And so that seems to be a common thread. It might be your story as well. We really dove deep into fermentation, into trying to learn how to grow food. We had a really cute little first house that had these enormous oak trees, like heritage oaks, that we would call Ents. That is the whole reason we bought our first house, these beautiful trees. The whole property, pretty small neighborhood property, but the whole property was shaded basically the entire day. It helped our electric bills. It did not help growing food. So I would find the little pockets of our property and yard that I could stick maybe some strawberries, or I had a pot out in front of my bedroom where a friend of mine for one birthday put in a tomato plant, a pepper plant, and a basil plant for me. And I would try to grow stuff that way. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law lived down the street, down an alley in that neighborhood just for I think about 2 years. And she invited me to use her backyard, to share it, to do an in-ground garden for the first time ever. And that's when I was introduced to wonderful heirloom tomatoes and basically ruined for the flavor of store-bought tomatoes forever. Even somewhat ruined for the flavor of non-heirloom tomatoes. I grew my first black krim that year and it was so good. And Kellogg's breakfast and just these flavors I still grow in my garden this far later. I think it's been 15 summers, maybe 16, and I'm still growing those varieties because they super impacted me. But yeah, this is a motivation of mine. I think about it and I think if I don't start this garden, no matter how tired I am, and I'm tired, guys. We don't do packaged food. We do so many things that we make ourselves, even down to, you know, the simple things from the garden, like making your own pickles, and we do them fermented instead of vinegar because we just want that little added nutrition to support our bodies so that we don't have to look to medication all the time and our bodies are supported to do what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to heal, they're supposed to get better. All that we gain, I mean, the fact that I feel so much healthier and I'm not sick all the time is incredible testimony to what eating real food, and I mean like real food, like the primary ingredients, go to the primary source and cut out all the extra preservatives and all the extra sugars that are added into things, but like actually eating things that we grew. And if we didn't grow it, maybe we got it at farmer's market or from a friend who's a gardener, but growing these things, eating these things that are so fresh gives so much life to our body. And it actually is worth all the hard work. And I'm not gonna pretend like it's not hard work. It is hard work, but it's worth it work. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, guys. If this is something that resonates with you, could you click the like button and let me know I'm not alone? Also, if you like this kind of content where, you know, we're real, we grow food for our family, I like to involve my kids as much as I possibly can. We do have 7 kids. Did I mention that? 7 kids, 7 to 20, and 5 boys, then 2 girls. That's literally the order. I didn't ever think I would have girls because my husband is the oldest of 6 boys. But all that to say, I love to involve them and I'd love to have you along. So follow along, hit the follow button, hit that little bell so you get alerts. And this is real. I am trying to label this stuff. I'm trying to make it out the door. And I know that this is gonna take a couple different timings, a couple different sessions to actually get these things planted. Chamomile. Oh, I sure hope this fall sown chamomile that I am doing, can I spell chamomile? I don't know. Chamomile, did I spell that right? I'm hoping that it does well because I only planted out 2 chamomile in the spring. I figured that all my chamomile from last year would self-sow. It didn't. I don't know what I was thinking. We put a whole layer of really good garden soil we got from a local landscaping company. We put it down as a layer, and of course it suppressed weeds and it also suppressed volunteers I was hoping for. Also, my parsley bolted and I didn't replant parsley in the spring, so I'm hoping planting parsley now might give me parsley through the winter because I miss it. I put some in the freezer and I just put some of that frozen parsley into my bone broth that's in the turkey roaster right now. and the smell of it is so good. I'm hoping for fresh parsley again. It's like you get used to such an abundance of certain things in the garden, then you forget to replenish it, and then I miss it. Vermiculite, perlite, peat moss, they're just enormous in the way and ugly, but that is real life, folks. Okay, I have to more seed starter, not a lot, but I do need to do more. So I'm gonna try to do this. Vermiculite, there you go. Perlite's pretty dusty. Perlite, I think that was a little too much. And then peat moss. Okay, the peat moss like hard as a rock, so I put water in it to soak it and make it expand. But it is very hard for me to get it out of the bag. And I don't need a ton more, just enough to do my onions. Oh, it's making me cough so bad. Onions and my lettuce. I'm just kind of mixing it around. I put some water in there, and I'm gonna let this sit so that I can have these big chunks of peat moss. They will break down, they'll expand. I can, combine things a little better. And then I can fill the little clamshells for lettuce and onions. And I can start those as well, because those are like my top things that I was gonna grow basically no matter what, is lettuce, onions, garlic. Well, I have a whole video about it, so I should link that for you as well. And of course, I am running late to my game. See this? This hat is not just my gardening hat, it is my soccer hat, because it helps so much with keeping the sun out of my eyes for long soccer games. Oh my goodness, you guys. Why do I always press the time to the very limits? Come on, girls, let's go. Let's go, okay. All right, I've got to show you this. My leg is so dirty from that seed starter mix. That is gonna be lovely at the soccer game. Oh. All right, dirty leg and all, we are going right now. Oh, hope if I'm pushing. Get my back pillow, because y'all know it's been here a while. I'm recovering from some back stuff. Okay, let's go. Okay, real life, you guys. Off to cheer for soccer. Come on. Hi, you guys. As you can tell by what I'm wearing, it is a different day. It's actually 2 days later, and I want to show you this because this is real life for us. And when I talk about doing things in little windows of time, this is how things really happen for me. I'm actually going to finally plant the seeds that I did all the work before I had to do. My soil actually dried out, my seed starter, not soil. So I poured some water in the bottom of the tray so it'll soak it up on the bottom, and then I will spray with a spray bottle. But so often I will see other gardeners on social media or YouTube that seem like they have it all together, and somehow they just manage to get everything done, and maybe they have more hours in the day, I don't know. But I wanted to just show you our real life, because if you're somebody who feels like you're always 2 steps behind, scrambling to get things done and wondering if you can even keep up with the food you're trying to grow, planting it, transplanting it, preserving it, all of the parts, you're not alone. I am just like you. So I am going to go ahead and start these seeds. And as I said, if you haven't started your seeds, take them out and do them with me. Do something with me, because it's real life. A lot of people are not all together. A lot of people have to do things in little windows of time when they can actually get things done, and don't always have huge free bits of time, especially people who have kids or full-time jobs that aren't, on their homestead or in their garden. It takes time, and it takes several sessions to actually do things. So I'm gonna start with these cauliflower seeds. I am very excited. I've heard really good things about these. I told you guys, I think, what's that called? Hit or miss, is that right? Luck with cauliflower. And sometimes I get big, beautiful ones, and other times I don't get much of anything. So I actually am excited to see if this variety lives up to its reputation and if it grows better than the cauliflower I've done in the past. I love purple cauliflower. This I love because, oh, I guess I said I was going to do 2 rows of them. I didn't even see that. So I think I'm gonna end up using probably just about all of the seeds in this pack. So this pack did not have a ton of seeds, but I guess I'm gonna give it a real go this year. And if I like it and it does well for me, then I can always buy it again for next year. Did I put one in there? I can't even tell. Oh dear, well, that one might get a second one because I don't know if I skipped it. So I probably have like 2 or 3 seeds left in here. I took the time to label them all so that this session of planting would go a lot faster. Arugula. These are teeny, teeny, tiny. Do not need that much. Wow, it's going to be very hard to only put one in a cell. Okay, I think my daughter wants to help me. You want to help me, hon? Here. One thing we do around here is we actually teach our kids to garden from a very young age, how to grow food, how to do all the different parts. So she is actually pretty good at this. This is not new to her at all. I want you to put 1 of the red mustard seeds.
1 of them?
Just really 1. If you get 2 accidentally, that's okay, but I'd rather 1. And it's this row right here. And I'm going to put, hold on. Sometimes I put like a bag or something on either side of the row when they're young. That way it helps guide them on where they're supposed to plant. Mm-hmm. Okay. Put them in there. I'm trying to keep it more simple this year. In some years. Tatsoi, that is such a pretty one. Tatsoi, I always think looks like a flower in the garden. Mine have never got as big as this picture. I don't know if it's gonna get the glare off, but it is super beautiful. No, you can't have wet fingers for it, so you're gonna have to go dry your fingers off. Dry your fingers off and come back. I'm gonna have you do the rainbow chard seeds because they are bigger. They're bigger, and so they're easier to not get them in the wrong cell because they are a good size. Look at this.
They're so big.
I don't know if you see that, but they're definitely bigger than
The mustard seeds.
the mustard seeds are little. Okay, there you go. 1 in each cell.
I didn't do it.
You can do this in here. Okay. So what we're gonna do next
We're gonna cover
is we are going to cover them up. I'm gonna actually use the soil that was in here. And then you get to spritz it. Well, I was gonna let you do the spritzing. You get the bottle. It's behind me over there. You gotta wait a second, okay? Let me cover them up, make sure they all get covered. Hey, wait, please. Okay, you wanna spritz it for me while I get the next ones ready? You be the spritzer, okay? All right, so we have that one done. Need someone to get us a dome lid and we can put this up on the shelf. We gotta pour more water in the bottom, just like we did before. I wouldn't normally have to do this if I hadn't let everything dry out, but because it took me a couple days, things dried out. That wasn't the plan, but that's just what happened. Japanese flowering one. This one, it's so pretty. It looks like a flower. And it's supposed to be yummy too. So when you put seed starter in your tray, you want it to be more like a damp sponge. That's what it was like. And then I accidentally left it out. We also put a dome lid on, just a humidity dome until it germinates. Okay guys, I have 2 trays left. I have to go get my daughter. Once again, I can't finish, but I hope that it was helpful to see me doing this, maybe to motivate you that you don't have to have things perfect to actually do them. And I will come back, and I got these different clamshells from family members who collected them for me. So I will actually start my onions and my lettuce in that. I will put down below in the description a link to the video of how I do that. I made a video last year. It's actually really simple. And I will see you in future videos. I hope that you're gonna grow a fall garden and that we can share the journey of, for us at least, the easier garden to grow. I'll talk to you soon.